Good Packer Nation morning, everybody. Thursday today. You guys are rolling on into the weekend, and the best thing about Thursday this week is we have a full slate of preseason games to watch tonight. Now, no Packers until tomorrow, but this will be plenty to keep our appetite sated until the Packers play the Browns tomorrow night. So it's all going down. It's going to be a great weekend. Obviously, these preseason games, I saw a good post, talked about how these preseason games are about the individual. The season games, regular season games are about the team. Preseason games are about the individual. So let's do Packer Nation roll call. Tim is here. Tim McCain, how you doing, man? Good morning to you, too. Adam is here. Go, Pack, go, says Adam. Good to see you guys all. I hope you're having a great freaking Thursday. Risto Petrov is here. Will Jared Cook play tomorrow? That's a good question. I think he'll get in there. As far as I know, there aren't any concerns, and he's been looking good so far. Tim says, Packers, baby. Ned is back. Good to see you, man. Okay, Lindsay is here. Danielle is here. Dawn Marie is here. Yay, football. Good morning. Oh, absolutely, yeah. And an even better night, right? Monica is here. Hi, how you doing, Monica? Eric is here, says, go, Pack, go. Good to see all you guys. Keith is here. Oh, yeah, Keith again. How you doing, man? And Monica says, morning from Tijuana. Monica, I need to come down and visit you. I bet the weather is fantastic down there. So Paula is here. Brandon is here. Melody from Sundance, Wyoming. That's right, folks. Let me know where you're at, and I'll give you a shout-out on the show as we do Packer Nation Roll Call every day before we get started. Cynthia says, hello. Nikki is here. Angela is here. Football season is my favorite time of year. Same here, Angela. It is freaking awesome. The weather is cooling down just a little bit, but it's not too cold yet. It's great. Monica is here. Phil is here from California. Good to see you, Phil. Brad from Illinois. You think Jordy will actually play? I don't think so in this one. I wouldn't. I'm going to discuss that a little bit, and I'm going to try to get into the mind of Mike McCarthy, and we'll talk about that. Larry, Eric, Paula, hi to everybody. Piper is here. Good morning from Toronto. Good morning, eh? Yeah, that's terrible. I hope you're eating your back bacon and having a cup of coffee. Oh, I'm having a cup of coffee, but I had to buy my coffee at McDonald's because I forgot to get coffee last night. I'm pretty serious about my coffee, so I'm one of these nerds that weighs their coffee and temps their water. Hey, Phil is back. Good to see you, man. To the Brady Gunn Show. Yeah, if I had any. I'm going to get back into it here in a little bit. Actually, I want to talk to everybody about that at one point because I'm thinking about getting in shape, and that's another story. But I need to. But thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. Eddie and Marie is here. Adam, morning Packer family. Oh, Packer family, and what a great way to term it. Hi, Audrey. Hi, everybody. All right, from Omaha, Nebraska, Joe is here. All right, let's get into it, guys. Tonight, we've got, now, I know, okay, preseason games, the score doesn't matter. What we're looking for is individuals that shine. That's for our team, but also for other teams as well, especially when those teams are going to have to play the Packers in the regular season. And look what we've got tonight. Tampa Bay versus Philadelphia. You think I'm not going to be watching for individuals who really shine in that game? Heck yeah. And I'll be talking to you guys about it. Washington versus Atlanta. We play Washington because we've got the NFC East, NFC North, NFC East matchups are coming through in the schedule, all right? New Orleans versus New England, not so much. Carolina versus Baltimore. Now, that's one I'll have to pay a little bit of attention to. But then you've got Jacksonville against the Jets. And Jacksonville, I will be paying some attention to. Of course, we all know. First game of the season. Tim says Packers, coffee, and bacon, three best things in life. You know, it's all the best things in life that lay us in an early grave. That's such an irony. I don't understand that. But yes, good stuff. In fact, I want to get my smoker rolling up here soon. In the fall, I just love to grill out. But yeah, Jacksonville going to be playing tonight as well. And that's a team, of course, we're going to have our eye on. One thing of note, you guys might have noticed, Reggie Ragland tore his ACL, and he's out for the season, it looks like, for the Bills. That's a guy that a lot of us Packer fans were really, really looking forward to possibly picking. Didn't happen. And then the poor guy as a rookie, goes into camp and gets injured. So it looks like he's out for the season. So we can see these injuries are already, let's see, Chargers lost a wideout for the season, these injuries are already happening. So we can see the wisdom of Mike McCarthy managing his veterans in particular. And I did want to talk about this. You know, the veterans get out on the field, and like Ted Thompson commented this week that, yes, he wants to see the veterans get out on the field because to be prepared for this game, you have to practice a little bit. It's kind of how he termed it. And what he means by that is, yes, these guys have to get out on the field enough to sort of renew the synchronization and the continuity that they already have. Because remember, Aaron Rodgers and Jordy Nelson have thousands of reps together. So yes, they do need to get back on the same page, and they do need to get a few reps together. But when you think about that, in contrast to the rookies who are just walking out on the field, guys like Trevor Davis, even guys like Jeff Janis who have been around a while, guys like Jared Abbrederis, he's been around a while but hasn't had that many reps because he's been off the field with injuries. Those are the guys that can truly benefit from these preseason reps. And when they benefit from these preseason reps, the team improves. Really, Jordy Nelson, he could go out there and at some point, once he's back in sync, once the continuity is reestablished, after having thousands of reps with Aaron Rodgers, what are you going to do? Is he really going to get faster or bigger or stronger? Is he going to be able to run routes better out there in the preseason when nobody's putting any serious defensive sets on the field anyway? No, he's not. He's already Jordy Nelson, right? He's not going to get any more Jordy Nelson. However, if you get Jared Abbrederis on the field, is that not a different story? Give me a thumbs up if you think, you got Jordy Nelson, get him in sync. Jared Abbrederis, he can get better, which is a really good thing. Jeff Janis, he can get better. Devontae Adams, he can get better because he has not yet had those thousands of reps. And once he gets, the more reps that he does get, the more he can improve. The more tape is on there for the coaches to look at. The more teachable moments there are for guys like Devontae Adams, Jared Abbrederis, Ty Montgomery, Jeff Janis, and Trevor Davis, who I thought he did a good job at Family Night. He showed some stuff. This is the difference between getting the vets on the field and basically sitting the vets. And then letting the vets sit for the rookies to get their opportunity is these guys, the rookies and even our third-year guys don't have those reps under their belt yet. And those are going to be crucial to making our team better. One of the big cuts on Jeff Janis was, he wasn't on the same page with Aaron Rodgers. How do you get on the same page with your quarterback? You play football with him. And for guys like Jeff Janis, those reps were few and far between. And he did earn a few, and especially with the injuries we had, he got pressed into service, and that's fine. But this preseason is a big opportunity for a kid but then on the same token, and again, I don't want to see any of our players get injured, but the more you put Jordy Nelson on the field, the more you risk him getting injured for nothing. And the more you put Jeff Janis on the field, yes, his risk of injury goes up, but the payoff is so much greater. So that's what I am really looking forward to in this preseason, is these young guys getting out of the field. I've said that a bunch of times, but here's the deal. Okay, now we're getting, because Ty Montgomery came back to camp, we're getting, like we said yesterday, this number 3 wide receiver battle is really coming into its own. And now, Ty Montgomery, I have been high on Ty Montgomery for a long time. Ever since I saw him, I saw like a return from his college game. I forget who they were playing. And I just saw the fluidity of this athlete, and I couldn't believe, for the kind of size he had, how fluid an athlete he was. So I've been high on Ty Montgomery for a long time. Well, Ty Montgomery finally gets back to camp and has like 3 drops in camp already. So now we've got this mix. I thought Ty Montgomery would immediately come in and be vying for that 3 spot with Devontae Adams and what looks like Jared Abbrederis right now. And instead, it looks like Ty Montgomery has a lot to prove because he's been injured for the whole, other than the 6 games of 2015, and now finally getting back to camp. It looks like he's got his work cut out for him. Jared Abbrederis is kicking butt and taking names, on the other hand, which tells me that he can press Devontae Adams for the 3rd spot, Devontae Adams has a lot going for him, has had a good camp. Family night was a little iffy, but he did get good accolades from Aaron Rodgers at family night. So apparently his route running has improved. Now Jeff Janis is in question, but he is a special teams guru. I mean, the guy I think is going to win a spot because as a gunner for special teams, if nothing else, add to that the fact that he did a good job running back kicks. And Ty Montgomery, who last season was coming into his own running back kicks. He wasn't even running back kicks. They had Janice Hyde and I think Trevor Davis was running back kicks yesterday. No Ty Montgomery. Now, does that mean that they're just trying to keep reps off Ty Montgomery while he gets back to full swing? Probably. But still, Jeff Janis is showing his value on special teams. Ty Montgomery isn't getting back there and showing what he can do on special teams. And Hector's asking, how is our special teams? They were pretty bad last year. Well, they weren't as bad as the year before, so we did improve. And Coach McCarthy has said he wants to improve the return game. One of the big question marks for special teams to me is, this is a team that's, our special team gunner right now, Jeff Janis, I think he's as good as it gets. I have seen him do stuff I haven't seen any Packer do. Jarrett Bush did some really good things and basically built a career on special teams. I think Jeff Janis is one of those guys too, but he's shown also he can go up and snatch a ball for a Hail Mary when he's called upon to do so. Yeah, I do want to see our return. Micah Hyde is a good punt returner, so I think we're okay there. The big question mark to me is we're going to have Aaron Ripkowski out there, who I think is fantastic on special teams, but we are not going to have John Kuhn out there this year. So that tells me somebody still has to step up. Yes, maybe we will maintain, but to answer your question, Hector, are we going to improve? I'm on a wait-and-see approach, and of course we'll see some special teams play tomorrow night, which is going to be really exciting, and I'll try to do as much analysis on that for you guys, since that has been a question that's come up. And I think special teams is obviously the most neglected aspect of football. It's the third element of football. And let me ask you a question. We had Brett Favre just go into and I'm going to take some time to get your answers on this. We had Brett Favre go into the Hall of Fame, winner of Super Bowl 31. Who was the MVP of Super Bowl 31? That's my question to Packer Nation right now. I know some of you out there know the answer to that. So as we're talking, let me know, was it Brett Favre? Was Brett Favre the MVP of Super Bowl 31? We've got Joey asking how Eddie Lacy looks, and he does look good. So we'll see what happens. But I want to know who out there knows who the MVP of Super Bowl 31 is. I hope you guys can hear me okay. My microphone was over. I'm going to move it up a little bit. Aha, I see it rolling in. Packer Nation knows their history. Paul knows it. Ricky knows it. Nathan knows it. Daniel knows it. Tim knows it. Oh, man, yeah, exactly. Justin knows. Desmond Howard, the returner for the Packers, who never even really got a shot. I think he went to the Raiders, right, to become a wideout. He wanted to play more. Josh knows it. Justin knows it. And Brett Favre was not the MVP. It was a special teams player that turned the tide in Super Bowl 31. Packers were not it was not all sunshine and roses since Brett Favre threw the touchdown pass to Andre Rison. And special teams truly came into play. This game is made up of three aspects: offense, defense, and special teams. And if you can improve your special teams, you improve your game. Look at if we hand the ball to Aaron Rodgers on the 35 rather than the 20, holy crap, it makes a difference. But I think special teams is going to be a key for us. Number one, we just have to be fundamentally sound. We can't have Tramon Williams dropping a punt in a playoff game. We can't have the mistakes. We've got to be fundamentally sound. And then if we can get guys like Trevor Davis, or I think Ty Montgomery was serviceable, but Jeff Janis is one of those guys that really did some good things on kick returns. I think Micah Hyde locks down the punt returns. I think Randall Cobb was a fantastic punt returner because he's so nifty. but I don't want to see him taking punts because I don't want to see him get hurt. And I think he's earned his way out of that role at this point. Obviously, the Packers have kind of moved on from that idea. But our special teams is going to be key, and we are going to start to see these guys. Can they gel? Can they be fundamentally sound? And then when somebody makes a play, that's going to be exciting because our offense, starting on the 35, or our defense starting against a team who is starting on their 10 puts a lot of pressure on them, and I think it's going to be interesting. But like I say, I'm in a wait and see approach to some extent because of we're in a bit of a transition. Mike McCarthy is no longer like as hands-on because he's back with play calling duties, which I think is a good thing. So there will be, I believe, some transition. I'm afraid there may be a slight step back, but I do think we're going to be fine in special teams. We'll see. Okay. All right. What else did I want to talk about too? Oh yeah. I mean, Ty having drops, I think is big because that third receiver battle has just taken a strange twist in my estimation. I didn't expect the one to really be pushing Devontae Adams to be Jared Abbrederis, but as of yesterday, the trend continues. Jared Abbrederis is knocking it out of the park from what we can see, and we'll see if that continues in the preseason games. Of course, we know, especially guys like Jeff Janis. Jeff Janis was a preseason stud, and the preseason gets you a chance, but it doesn't make you a star, so we'll see what happens. Brett Hundley didn't practice, and it looks like he's still bothered by the ankle, so I am expecting then he is going to be a scratch. I really want to see that kid play, but that's okay. I'd prefer to see him play healthy and be healthy, but we'll see what happens with Brett. We'll try to keep you up to date on that. All right, let me read some more because that's about all I've wanted to talk about all day long is number one, we got football tonight, and then tomorrow the Packers play, so I think it's going to be fantastic. Paul says, I believe if the defense stays off the field a bit less, the D is set up to be very good. This is a great point, Paul. And I think a lot of people in Packer Nation, one of the frustrations with the offense not clicking, and I think the offense, I've said this before, I think it was a perfect storm for the offensive woes that we had last year. And I'll just recap that really quick, right? Listen, Mike McCarthy decided to give up play calling duties for the first time in 10 years, okay? That's a transition. Of course, the big one, Jordy Nelson gets hurt in the preseason and is out for the season. Ty Montgomery comes on strong, looks like a real, the only guy who's willing to take that open door and make something of himself. He gets hurt. We've got the line gets decimated by the time Christmas rolls around. Our line, we didn't know who was going to be on the field. The only person on our team who was really playing at 100% seemed to be Aaron Rodgers, and we found out he was dinged up too. Eddie Lacy was not himself. He was not just, it wasn't just a weight issue. He was injured too. He was playing hurt. Remember I think it was the Arizona Cardinal game, he had a rib injury, and those rib injuries, when you're a running back, I played running back, and that hurts. I mean, it hurts because you've got to take impact through your torso every time you run the ball. So to me, it was a perfect storm against the offense. But my point is this. I bet, and let's do this. Give me a thumbs up out there in Packer Nation if there weren't times when you really were frustrated, not with what the offense was unable to do as an offensive unit, but for the fact that they couldn't get anything together and the amount of pressure they were putting on our defense. And our defense held up so strong so many times. But I definitely agree with you. If we can just sustain drives, even if they're not scoring drives, but if you sustain a drive, they're more likely to be scoring drives. Yeah, a lot of people are agreeing with me out there that if we can take some pressure off our defense, they are going to be even better than they were last year. And I do think that's true. Trent is out there. Hey, buddy. My cousin Trent's out there again today. Good to see you. Is Joe Callahan going to play QB all game, or do we have a fourth? Yeah, we'll have, and I'm forgetting his name, but we'll have two in there, I believe, at this point. I can't believe I can't remember his name. Somebody will jump on and let me know. But yeah, I think we're going to have two rotating in. Callahan is, I think, going to get the most of the playing time. But this is going to be an opportunity. You know, it's the first preseason game basically for us this year. They're going to swap those guys out and see what they can do. Put them in a lot of situations. Jan asks if I can do predictions for this year. Yes, we will, but we will do them on the cusp of the season, when the season is a little closer on the horizon, okay? So we'll see, yeah. Sean is here, it says good morning to Packer Nation, so I'll reflect that. Yeah, and Hector is calling the game against the Panthers as a perfect example of how the defense woke up and the offense wasn't, and the offense didn't when it was crunch time. So what we had in that, you remember, we were one series away from winning that game. I'm remembering what the score was off the top of my head. But we were one series away from winning that game. The offense did falter in that game at the very end, but the defense gave them the chance to get in there. And yes. Oh, and Ned's back on. Ned, hey, I will say this. Ned is standing pat on his 12-4. So if you're asking about predictions, we know what Ned's is. And we're holding Ned to it too, so no changes, man. Sam says, morning for social. Just is here. Sustaining drives has always been a problem of ours. Yeah, I do agree. That has been one of the things that I've had a concern about for several years. And I think Eddie Lacy coming back, and I think James Starks is a great second. I think we're fortunate to have a guy like that. Crockett coming in as a young player. I think that we will be able to sustain these drives. One of the other reasons I say that is because Mike McCarthy has said he wants to sort of get back to he wants to simplify this offense and get back to focusing less on the plays and more on the players. So I do think that if we focus that way, we're going to help players' individual ability to make plays. And if we do that, we're going to have, maybe we change what would be a 2-yard gain into, say, a 3-yard gain. If you can change a 2-yard gain into a 3-yard gain, you've opened a door and you've opened up the playbook on your third down. Your third down, just by nature of math, becomes shorter. And I do think that there is, I don't think it's going to be a huge change, but I do think the change might be, and I hope it is, that we will be able to sustain more drives. There are times when we can sustain drives. You look at the first preseason game against New England in 2015. We sustained the drive all the way up to the 2-yard line. We weren't able to punch it in, but we sustained that drive. And sometimes those drives, even if you settle for a field goal, are so important for your defense because it gives them a chance. Defenses get gassed, and it gives them a chance to go suck some oxygen and get ready to go at it again. Fatigue makes cowards of us all. Fatigue. One of the things, I don't know, I'm going to wax philosophical here, but one of the things that fatigue does to our bodies is it makes our coordination level go down. That's part of the reason that conditioning is so important, is if your coordination level goes down and you misplace a foot, what can happen? Well, number one, you're not going to win the play, but number two, your possibility for injury goes up. So our strength and conditioning training is so important. The number one purpose for strength and conditioning training, and I hear very little people focus on this, but I hope the Packers strength and conditioning staff focuses on this. The number one priority and reason that you lift weights and do these drills that they do is to protect against injury. If our defense can stay off the field and be a little fresher, our chance of injury goes down as well. So it's extremely important, not just for our chances of winning games, but also for our ability to maintain players like Clay Matthews and Julius Peppers all the way through to the playoffs. And of course, we can manage that to some extent. They're doing that this year. They're going to put Nick Perry on the field and let Julius Peppers watch a few downs because he's an older player. So yeah, extremely important, and I'm glad that topic was brought up because I think that's going to be one of the things I'm really going to keep my eye on, and I think a lot of you are too. Injury prevention, thank you, Joshua. Exactly. It isn't talked about enough because generally when guys get into a weight room to lift some weights, what we're doing is we're trying to put some numbers on a board somewhere, dude, and that is not the point. The point, first of all, is injury prevention, and then you work through, and yes, PRs and stuff like that come into play. But we are a football team. We're not a powerlifting team. And I say that as my sport was powerlifting. I didn't win state in football. I got knocked out of football very early with an ACL, never got to come back. My sport was powerlifting. But powerlifting has its safety element too. But we're not a powerlifting team. And that doesn't mean powerlifting doesn't help, because one of the best offensive lines I have ever seen play high school football was smaller than everybody else I saw, much smaller than our offensive line, but it was at the defensive line. They were much smaller than our offensive line, but they were an entire unit of power lifters, and they destroyed us. So, yeah, but anyway, the point being injury prevention, it should be at the top of the list, okay? Fat Boy says, go Pack, go. I'm going to close out the show with some shout-outs. So if you haven't gotten your name mentioned, just I think I already said, do I think the secondary has potential to be better than Super Bowl year? My hesitation on that, because I would say yes, because we've got Julius Peppers and Clay Matthews, but I'm not sure. I love HaHa Clinton-Dix and Morgan Burnett, don't get me wrong, but we don't have Nick Collins, okay? So I do think we have the potential. Your question is, do they have the potential? So I think, yes, we do have the potential. But I have been really, as I've said, I'm a big Leroy Butler fan. I'm a big Nick Collins fan. I feel really bad about how he had to leave the league. And I do want to see what Morgan Burnett and HaHa Clinton-Dix do. I'm totally excited. I love the way they play. Don't get me wrong. And they had Demarius Randall blitzing in practice yesterday, and I think he has shown some promise. One thing I want to see, if I'm going to say that this secondary is going to be as good as our Super Bowl year, and I think you're referring to Super Bowl 45, in my mind, I do think of Super Bowl 31 to a great extent. I want to see our DBs be able to come in on blitzes and get to the quarterback. If we can add that element, and I saw it start to come through, you could tell Dom Capers wanted to add that to our defense last year. But if we can do that, then yes, absolutely, I think we can. Because I think we're going to be able, I think we're deep in the defensive backfield. I think we are, Chris Banjo with an interception a couple days ago in practice. This is a guy, safety back there that really is, he's not a household name, generally speaking. I think we've got some players back there, and you look at Randall and Rollins and Gunter. Then you got, Morgan Burnett, HaHa Clinton-Dix, which I think can be one of the best safety tandems in the league right now. But I go back to Super Bowl 45, and obviously foremost on my mind is Nick Collins not only picking off the ball, but having a return and taking it to the house. He looked like a running back on that play. That was an absolutely electrifying play, for lack of a better term. If I had a better term to use, I'd use it. I absolutely love that play. So yeah, I do think if the question is potential, then yes, I do think they have the potential. All right, guys, Jared is here. I'm gonna sign off. I don't want to take up. I try to take that 20-minute to 30-minute time frame. It went from 15 to 20, then it went from 20 to 30. But really, it's all about you guys. So if you guys are interacting and we have a longer show, feel free to say goodbye if you gotta go. Again, if you're driving in your car, please don't text. Please don't thumbs up. I mean, I'd rather not have to hear from you. You can just listen to me, and I know that's kind of hard sometimes, but yeah, please be safe. That's the most important thing. Well, Packer Nation, I hope you have a great Thursday. I really appreciate you guys giving me some thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that really helps me out a great deal. Helps us out at GPN. We're just Packer people. Trying to make a way in this world like everybody else. I got 3 kids that I'm trying to feed. That's really what we do. So loving the Green Bay Packers, feeling a little taste of home because I've been exiled out here to Tennessee, and hopefully getting back to the promised land a little more often this year so I can show you guys what's going on a little more close up. Looks like that's going to happen. I'm very excited about a lot of things we're doing this year. Some of them I mentioned. I won't mention them all today. And so Danielle says, go Pack, go. Milton Ingebretson. I had a really good friend with the last name Ingebretson. Actually, I had 2 of them, frankly. Milton, I'm going to give you this. All right, this is for Milton, and we don't know each other, but he's saying peace, brother. I really appreciate that. If you're still here, Milton, I want to say, because I had a classmate whose last name was Ingebretson, you have the coolest last name in the world when it's flipped backwards. It's Nosterbegny. Your last name, and I would not know this about any other last name in the world except for this little fun fact that I had a classmate. Your last name backwards is Nosterbegny. That's so cool. I had a friend named Casey Ingebretson, and his name backwards was Jessic Nosterbegny. I don't know why these things come up, but I guess because it's Thursday, we're rolling into a weekend. Jose is here. Can't wait for Friday night. Absolutely, Jose. I'm right with you. Sharon is here. Sean is here. Adam Rogers is back here again. Adam, how you doing? I hope you're having a great day. Milton, my grandmother cooked for Green Bay. How cool is that? Well, that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that little tidbit of news. That would be cool. Justin is here until the game is canceled again. Yeah. the only reason the game against the Browns is going to get canceled is if there are too many injuries to the cheerleaders for the Browns, okay? So I think we're going to be okay. As long as none of the Flyers, fall and break their ankle, I think we'll be able to play the game, all right? Andrea is here. Can you meet me and the guys when they come to Nashville November? Andrea, we'll need to talk about that. Send me a message at GPN, and we'll have to make some arrangements. I really do have my sights set on Nashville this year. I was back there, I think it was a couple years ago when they played the rained-on preseason game. Met some really cool Packer fans, went around and interviewed a bunch of people, had a lot of fun even though it was pouring rain. The minute we got out of the car, from the minute the game was over, it absolutely was a torrential downpour, but it was a fantastic time. My son bought me tickets for Father's Day to the preseason game, and it was a night to remember, a night I'll never forget. So we had a great time. So yeah, just shoot me a message. I'll see if I can catch up with you. Adam, you are welcome, bro. Keep watching the show. Justin, I'll be at the Falcons game. Great. We'll be looking forward to hearing from you. All right, okay. Andrea says, I was there soaking wet. I didn't get a chance to interview you, I guess, at the time. I did about 5 or 6 of them, I think, and we caught up with the folks with the little green bus, the little green Packer bus that they had, and it was a good time. So yeah, you remember the water. I have been in a lot of torrential down. I've been in hard rain, but I don't think I've ever been in rain that just poured straight down with no wind for 3 hours exactly at the start of game time, and then by the time the game was over, we walked home and it was finally stopping. It was crazy. Cece is here. Angel is here. Good to see you. I will say goodbye, folks. Thank you so much. And remember, check out GPN. The tweet cap is up from yesterday, and that is just a little summary of what happened. And I love it because it helps me sort of keep up. My brother JR puts those up each night, and tonight I won't be one. I don't think there's practice tonight. They're obviously doing their traveling and getting ready for Cleveland. So have a good night. Take care. Check out GPN. Get the ring.